Aloha, Michelle Hernandez here, and welcome to Life is Constant TV Hawaii. This channel is about bringing you a bit of beautiful island life, as well as uplifting your spirits and introducing you to joy, love, and hope. Today we're going to be at Twin Falls, which is here on the island of Maui, Hawaii. And a little later, we're going to talk about self-worth and how do you get that? How do you know if you're right on track with that? So stick with me as we explore some really cool stuff together. All right, we are at Twin Falls, and this is just at the end of one of the smaller waterfalls. It's called Twin Falls because there's actually two waterfalls here. It's a beautiful path. It's a short path that we actually went down for a little while. Nice casual walk under some kind of bridge is what this latest little path led me to, but it's a good place because you can actually hear the first fall falling, and just listen to that stream running and rushing through. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, this is the first small fall of Twin Falls. Listen to that. So peaceful. Such gorgeous giant trees in this area. Everything is just grown. Here's just a beautiful root system of this tree right by the running living waters of the waterfall. People actually go in and swim. I wouldn't dare go underneath the fall, but some do. Here's another shot of it pouring. Okay, see it running down and running. People are jumping off cliff into it. Crazy people. All right, well, that was truly beautiful. Always. It amazes me, the things that God has created for us to enjoy. Well, I want to speak to you about self-worth, and it's a topic that is very close to my heart because I pursued it for most of my life. It took me until I was in my 40s actually to really grasp its fullness. The dictionary describes self-worth as a sense of one's value or worth as a person. It's also been described as self-esteem or self-respect. But like I said, it's very close to my heart because I think most of my life I really was searching this out. There was always something deep within myself, a lie that I was believing that you're just not good enough or you could do better and there's always more to accomplish. I believe that's why I was such an overachiever for so long. I mean, I kept wanting to accomplish one thing after the other. So that's what would have been probably the motivation of going to college in the first place, then going to law school, being a lawyer for over 25 years in private practice, owning my own business, owning my own law firm. You know, it's just like was never enough. It was one goal after the other. And it wasn't like my life was not happy, or it wasn't as though I didn't enjoy my career or whatnot, but I really, in looking back, I do realize that there was something that I was looking to prove, or thinking that somehow the behavior that I was doing or what I would have would define on exactly my worth as a person, as a human. Like, so it would be my self-worth. But the big thing about self-worth is we really need to ask ourselves, what is the measuring stick that we're using to value ourselves? Because like in the definition of the word self-worth, it's one sense of value. And so what are we measuring that value with? How are we defining what ultimately will be the value? If it's the car we drive, the amount of education that we have, the amount of money that we make, or the house that we live in, we're on dangerous grounds, because there will always be a person that drives a better car, that has a bigger house, that makes more money than you, that retires earlier than you. What is it that we are defining high value? And for me, after accomplishing all these goals that I went after all my life, and then being on the top of the mountain, so to speak, and even by worldly standards, I would imagine that most people would think in the world that, hey, you have made it. You are of high value. You have a big house. You have a powerful career as a lawyer. And if that was the measuring stick, then I should have had this sense of self-worth that was very high. But even in that, there was still something deep inside me that was saying, nope, you're still not enough. And I wasn't completely fulfilled. That doesn't mean I wasn't happy. I was happy. I had a wonderful marriage, and I had a wonderful career that I cherish, and I'm very proud of that career. But then why was it that there was still some small voice inside that I believed the lie of that, no, it needs to be better. It needs to be better. Many people have those self-doubts, those questions. And I know powerful lawyers out there that, would say, oh, I'm good as is, and my life is great, and, because they have money and they can go and do these certain things. But I also know that they have insecurities, because I know enough of them that they too have insecurities, and they still have fear, and they still have doubts. They may have a good dose of self-worth and may believe in themselves to a certain extent, but then what's up with that fear, and what's up with the insecurities? I mean, if you were truly on solid ground with this, then you wouldn't have an opening like that. Like you wouldn't beat yourself up all the time. You wouldn't measure yourself or compare yourself to other people. Think about it as when you see a success of another person, is the first thing that comes to you is like, oh, I don't have that. Or, oh, I wish I had that. You immediately come back and think about yourself? Or can you truly rejoice and be happy for that person and have joy for that person, and just in love, sincere love? Or does it always come back about yourself, right? Even the ones that are also high on themselves and wants the world to think that, hey, look at me, I'm so much better than you. Even those people, I would say, have a low self-worth, because who are they trying to prove it to, after all? If they were so confident in themselves and knowing their true value, then they wouldn't have to brag about all this stuff to people. Well, I describe it a lot in my book. I wrote a book called A Father's Love, and I have a link below the description of this video that you can download a PDF copy of it for free, pass it on to your friends, read it, and it's just going to go into the journey that I had, but it also is going to talk about examples of showing you if you are still struggling with some self-worth issues, if you do the following, if you're looking at things this way. A lot of people tie their self-worth and value to the world on what they do and what their career is. And that's dangerous too. I mean, there's a lot of lawyers, there's doctors, there's lots of great careers out there in their own right, and we've worked hard to accomplish this, and it's a great goal to have, and we accomplished the goals, and we should celebrate that. So there's no shame there. But being a lawyer was what I did. It's not who I am, right? I mean, I'm proud of being able to do that, and it made me very happy, but it's not who I am. Sometimes you'd be amazed at how many times when I would tell people, even when I was in law school, that I was in law school, or when I tell people that I'm a lawyer when they first meet me, they change the way they look at me, they change the way they treat me, and it made me very uncomfortable. Most of the time, not always, most of the time, they were trying to elevate me as far as as thinking, well, she's a lawyer, so blah blah, she must be better. and like, or it, maybe it's an admiration, and that's nice, I suppose, but why would being what I do make me a better person than who I'm speaking to? To me, that just was a sign of, from that person, that they have self-worth issues, because they're immediately thinking like, oh, she's better than me. And that's not even true. That's not even, I never have like thought that I'm a better person because of what I do for a living. God has made us all his children. We are all equal. It doesn't matter. It's not matched to the level of our bank account. It's not our net worth. It's not our careers. I mean, geez, we are all uniquely and wonderfully made. That's how I see people. So what I do for a living is not who I am. It's dangerous when people define themselves, and I would say the word is like their identity. They place their entire identity, their entire self-worth into what they did for a living, because then when they retire, oh, now what are you going to do? Because you don't even do that anymore. I mean, now what's left? And many times when the ones that put their whole identity into what they did instead of who they are, they're lost in retirement years because they're no longer that profession. So that's not the answer. When I was in my 40s, and there was this one time where it was just, it's a bad day, and I'm suddenly realizing that what more can I do to prove to myself of my fullness of value? Like, stop that lie, that was deep inside me saying, yep, you're still not enough. That's when I had the wonderful encounter with my Heavenly Father. And it was on my deck in Wisconsin in my house, and it was on a Father's Day, and I was sad because I had issues as far as like with my biological father, and never knowing him. And I just heard so clearly that he just came to me in a point of a weakness or a sad moment, letting me know that he has always been my father. And it was like this supernatural thing. It makes no logical sense. I mean, seriously, it was just that when I finally realized like there was nothing more for me to accomplish, because all the stuff that I've been doing, everything I wanted to ever have, I had in the world. But there was still something inside me. And until I had that encounter with God, where it just literally put me to my knees, where I was able to say yes to being his child, and finally having the realization that he has always been there for me. He's pursued me all my life, and he loves me for me. Like, he sent his son off the throne from heaven. Jesus was God and came down to earth as a human being to save us, because they didn't want to be in heaven without us. We are his children. That's how much he loved us. He came, he was tortured, he suffered, and he died as a human, as a man, for us to have everlasting eternal life with him. That is love. And all we have to do is say yes to being his child, and yes to Jesus, and we now have been adopted into a royal family. We are now sons and daughters of the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, God of God. Like, seriously, all it requires is a yes. It wasn't like a college degree. It's no education. It's not amount of money. There's no money that we can pay to get this. There is nothing that we can do. We can't sit there and feed the poor. There's nothing like that. We have to say yes in the deepest part of ourselves and our hearts that we are his, and he's always been there. He has always been ours, but we just keep rejecting him, or we just keep thinking that that's not the answer, and we keep going down these other roads. Even for those of you that believe that your life is all so, not so bad, it's good, I like my life, then be real honest with yourself when you're sleeping at night, when you wake up in the middle of the night because you have this chatter going on, that you're like worrying about some silly thing that's going on at work or that's going on in your life. All that is just chatter from an enemy that's like just wants to torture you and wake you up, and it's that voice that's telling you you're not good enough, or you're going to mess up, or you're going to make this mistake. There's tons of examples of that voice that I'm saying is just a bunch of lies trying to get you off balance on not being happy with yourself anymore. But once I turned my life over and I had that encounter, seriously, that chatter went away. And I know it was as though that emptiness that was in me there was this overwhelming feeling of love that came in. It's almost like if there was like lava coming in. It was this warm feeling that came in to me so deep, and it just filled me. Like it was after all of my pursuit in life for self-worth, all of the self-development things that I did, all of the spiritual freelancing that I did, it was that in that one moment that I was able to truly feel the love and for God, the acceptance from Him, and then love for myself. It was almost like a light switch that just flipped up, and suddenly it was all right there. Now, since then, I've been doing a lot of work as far as now on the path of Jesus and learning spiritually how to grow. Because what He does is He constantly wants us to go from glory to glory. He loves us as is. We don't have to do anything except say yes to Him, and we're good. But what's really cool is being able to get closer and closer and closer to Him and have that relationship where He's like our biggest fan. He's like my biggest fan. He continues to give me ideas for these videos. He continues to be proud of me on things. And he just directs my path all the way. I seek Him on everything that I say yes to in life. And it's just wonderful, and it's exciting, and it's never boring. And I don't worry anymore. I don't have fear. Like, certainly the lie of the fear might tries to come, but it's like immediately dissipated. I don't wake up in the middle of the night anymore with chatter in my ears. I don't worry about what people think about me because I have nothing to prove to them. I care for people deeply. However, I'm loved by a King of Kings, and as is, and I perform for an audience of one, so I'm not getting, my measuring stick is not about accomplishments anymore. It's not about degrees or my career or the money that I have in my bank account. It's not about what people think of me. It's not about even if I succeed on a goal or I don't. I continue to have my goals. I continue to do and accomplish things and learn new things because it's exciting. But am I successful always? Absolutely not. But it doesn't matter because not being successful at something doesn't mean I'm not valuable. It's a freedom that's beyond freedoms. It's so hard for me to have you understand until you've had your own encounter. So I would encourage you to pray to Jesus and ask Him, bring forth an encounter. Also, when you start thinking about yourself, just ask to see yourself through the eyes of Jesus, and see if you're going to hear things. You're going to those initial thoughts that you hear about yourself. Start writing them down. Start writing down all the positive things about you. There's so many. We all have such a wonderful value in this world. It's a purpose for us to be here, every single one of us. Every single one of us. As long as we have air in our lungs to breathe, we have a reason to be here. We should sincerely want to cheer each other on. When we're not competitors of each other. We're all brothers and sisters. It's as simple as saying yes to Him. That's the key to self-worth. Once you have high self-worth, you will be able to see the value of everyone else so much more clearly. It's so wonderful to walk through the island of Maui and look at people and watch their interactions and just see the beauty within them all. Now, none of us are perfect, of course, but I see way more loving things in people than I ever have before, and it just opens up this whole new way of life and this whole new world of just comfort and peace and overwhelming love. We've just fully accepted the identity that we are in Christ, that we are sons and daughters of a King. And when you see yourself like that, there's really nothing that can shake you. Really is no circumstance in life that can come that's really going to shake you so much that will throw you off of knowing who you truly are. So, well, that's what I have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's videos. Be sure to share this to your friends and like the channel and subscribe. Share it with somebody that you think that they could benefit from some of the messages that I have. So until next time, mahalo and aloha.